Hi everyone, welcome back to the channel. Today we are going to continue with our series here about emotional abuse and how you can recognize the signs of that in your life so that you can have the knowledge and the power to protect yourself from all kinds of abusers and bullies and narcissists. High conflict people, whoever those are in your life. So let's get going. Today we're going to have a talk about invalidation, and it is an absolutely huge part of an emotional abuser's playbook, and this will almost always and without exception be present in an emotionally abusive dynamic relationship. So we're going to take a look at some examples of how that might show up and what it might sound like. And for most people, this is going to be in the context of an intimate partner relationship, though of course it can apply to any troublesome, antagonistic or selfish person in your life. Now, all of this stuff around invalidation, it can be related to gaslighting in as much as it is a part of gaslighting. It's kind of a component of it, and which is part of that collective of tools that an abuser's gonna use to try and unseat your peace of mind, cause you to doubt your own reality and hurt you, all to gain power and control and dominance over your mind and your body and even your soul. But I will cover gaslighting in depth in another video. If anyone wants my perspective on it, I'll do that one as well. So validation, let us get going and have a look at this. So firstly, what I want to say is that the clarion cry of an emotional abuser is very often these three words, and that is "you're too sensitive." So if you hear that, it's a telltale sign, and you might hear that in conjunction with something like "lighten up," "I was only joking," or it's banter even. And sometimes that will be followed up again with an ad hominem attack. That is a personal attack on you. Something like you've got no sense of humour, you're boring, or you're miserable. Or for one person once, she told me that her abuser said you're turning into your mother, which is awful because it's kind of an attack on mum and you, isn't it? It's really dreadful. So if they'll do this, if they're in the mood to double down, not only on dismissing your feelings and your needs, but also punishing you for daring to have any of your own. So if you hear this stuff, it's invalidation. And I think inside our hearts, we do know the difference between playful teasing and the cold hard stab of cruelty, of emotional cruelty. So it has a different flavour, a different taste, and as well everybody's enjoying it, aren't they, when humour is mutual and not bullying. So yeah, there is that. So look out for that, and if that happens, then you're being invalidated. Another thing that might go on here is that this person might deny your reality and your sense of perception around your feelings, and they might refuse to accept that you feel a certain way. And that might be coupled with blame shifting. So let's say they lost their temper with you and exploded out of control, out of nowhere, in their volatile mood. And you get anxious around the volatile mood the next day. So you kind of withdraw. But when you explain that you feel anxious about their behaviour, they're not going to be happy about that. And then they lash out at you and they blame the kids for stressing you out, refusing to be accountable for their behaviour. So yeah, again, you might see some insults around that as well. Things like you're not coping well, you seem to be struggling with your parenting, or you're a crap parent, raised terrible kids, whatever it is. So they kind of throw the blame elsewhere and invalidate your truth and your reality as they do that. And yet they will scapegoat whoever they want when they displace their own feelings of shame and shift blame to other people. And that can be vulnerable people. It doesn't really matter. Anyone goes under the bus, even an easy target. So yeah, everything and everyone. Yeah. So this is, you can see those links between gaslighting and the invalidation. All of this is going to cause you to doubt yourself, and that makes you easier to control, of course. But yeah, another thing that might happen is they might accuse you of being overly dramatic, exaggerating, blowing things out of proportion, being greedy, selfish, materialistic, or being an attention seeker. All of that groovy stuff, just put whatever it is in that space. They're all different, but they might very well start accusing you of being the one with the problem. But what is actually going on here is that they don't have the ability to internally regulate their feelings. They need the outside to do that for them. They need other people to do that for them. And because of that dependence they've got on you to help regulate their emotions, they're going to resent you for that. They resent your inner strength. They resent your authenticity and the light that you've got inside you, all those qualities that they need to feed on from you. They kind of envy as well. They envy that, and that's a pathological envy. And that's why you'll see them splitting with that black and white thinking, dichotomous thinking, we call it in psychology, having those unpredictable moods and emotions in the context of a relationship. It's that inability to regulate the emotions, regulate their own inner worlds like a healthy person can. So something else that might happen after your abuser's exploded in a rage is you might very understandably withdraw from them to lick the wounds that they've caused to you. But of course, they're going to interpret that as you deliberately ignoring them or stonewalling them. So those feelings and that need you have to regroup, reorder your thoughts, those are going to be entirely ignored, invalidated, and they're going to point the finger at you and tell you that you're the one with the mental health issue, you're the one with the behavioural issue. You're withholding, you're cruelly ignoring their endless need for attention, the admiration, the validation, and of course the compliance that they want from you. So you see, because they are so tremendously egotistical and they lack awareness, they assume the internal landscape of your emotions is the same as theirs. This kind of black and white, the monotone inner world that they've got. And they're going to accuse you of the stuff that they're guilty of too. They project a lot. They're going to do that. So if you listen to them when they're invalidating you and going off on their invalidating rants that they like to do, you might essentially, if you listen, hear a confession in there. Because they tend to arrange the furniture of a relationship around their inner world and their flawed beliefs. What they see as the truth very much depends on what their feelings are at the time. So for them, their feelings, their pathological feelings become facts. And this can be enormously destabilizing for you because they project their version of events and their reality onto you. So always remember, this is the important part here, do not ever take anything that they say personally. Never internalize this narrative that they feed you. And if you cannot walk away from this person, this toxic person, then you absolutely must avoid becoming mentally invested in the things that they are telling you about yourself, because they aren't truth. At best, it's a mixture of confabulation, pathological belief systems, and maybe a couple of molecules of facts sprinkled on the top there. So abusers that are on the narcissistic spectrum, they lie, both to themselves and also to you. So take whatever measures you can to protect yourself. And if you cannot withdraw or reduce your contact, just be sure never to internalize the corruptive narrative that they're trying to install there onto your hardware. And as well, just to wrap up this video, just remember that you do have the human right to be at peace and to be happy and healthy and to live a life where you can thrive and you can grow and be with other kind and happy and loving people. So hopefully this video has given you a bit of insight. If it has, let me know, check in with me, subscribe, all that stuff. And follow this series that I'm doing on emotional abuse. Let me know if any of it resonates with you. Thank you for watching. Thank you so much for joining me again. I will see you next time around.